Okay, so what we have here is how I control my garden from being overgrown with weeds. As you can see here, I have my iris. I have my pots of rare organic tree, which this one is a guava, this one is a mango. So those are the rare trees that needs lots of maintenance and care for. So I basically put them in pot to make sure that they are happy, and I change out the soil for them every year. Because the winter is coming, I am actually going to have to add more soil into these pots for these rare plant. So that's the reason why I have a bag of K-Log organic soil for them. But because I don't have time to do it all in one day, so I basically gone to Home Depot, to the store, and I basically bought the soil and I just put it where my pots are, so that way I don't have to use extra strength to manure these pots around. As for my garden, so as you can see here, I have several different type of weeds. I have regular grass, I have what is known as Bermuda grass, and it grows like mad. It will go into the iris garden, and as you can see here, I just pulled out a brand new strand of weeds. Now it's hard to keep the weeds out of the garden because they will migrate to where there are fresh new soil, and I use the black fabric that I normally buy from Home Depot, Costco, or wherever. Oops, the camera turns around. So I normally use the black fabric, but with the black fabric, because I always keep on adding soil to my garden, it's buried underneath, and this, oh my god, it buries underneath, and then the weeds tend to come into the yard or the garden. So in other words, what I normally do is this method that I have here. So I know I need to get the soil age for my iris garden. What I do is I lay it on top like this. I overlay it so that way it doesn't have sunlight. So if I get another bag of chicken manure, I'm going to overlay it on top of this rock here. And also it keeps the moisture. When I water my irises, the water doesn't come out to the grass. And that's another way to save, for me to save water. Yes, it makes your garden look like a mat house, but hey, it works for me, and it works like magic. So as you can see here, there isn't any like grass. There may be grass that's trying to sneak its way to go in, but it's more than likely it will go in more slowly and more manageable for me to have enough time to sit down and weed my iris bed. So these are the iris that I have. These here, I didn't get any bloom this year, so I did not dig them out. The one that I have blooms, I dig them out, or the one that it didn't do so well, I dig them out and I put it in pots, and I try to make the rhizome bigger, and I try to get them much more healthier in ways to get them to bloom. And as you already know, I don't just grow one thing in the iris bed. I also have a little bit of mint growing here, and I don't drink it in my tea anymore, so I might need to take it out as weeds. But that's how I manage my weeds from overgrowing, is just overlay them. So like here, there's a little bit of weed over here. If I just take another bag of chicken manure and sit it on top of these two rocks like I did over here, then it will prevent the weeds to to calm down a little bit, and will buy me more time, and also retain the water. When I water my iris, it will keep the water in the iris bed instead of coming out into the lawn and water the stupid grass that I don't want. So with that being said, that's how I do it. Yes, it does make your garden looks not so beautiful and not so attractive, but at the end of the day, it does the job. And also, it also saved me from like, if I put so I scattered them around. Also, it's another strategy. It's like, I only need to carry it to this area once, and I know that this bag of chicken manure will be for this iris bed, right? So that means once March once it age, all I have to do is rip open the bag and start scattering it out, and then take the plastic away from the garden, and I'm done. I don't have to drag it from one place to another and things like that. The garden is for me to actually go in anyway. I try to keep my husband and son out. So I mean, it's basically is me. So I don't care how it look. I just care how my rhizomes and how whether or not they flower or not, because that's what I care about. But if you care for your iris garden and you don't want it to scatter chicken manure back around, that I understand too, but that's how I do it. And it seems like it works, because in California we have what is called drought, and so we cannot really water our plants more than 2 days a week, and we have to conserve water. And this is a way that I found to keep my plant healthy, retain moistures to the ground near them, and also to keep the water from flowing out into the excess water from flowing out into the lawn, which I don't want that to happen, because I wanted to keep my plant happy and not the garbage grass happy. So in other ways, that this one here is the bag that I had open. So basically I kept the open part over here, so that way I can go in with my gloves and I can just take the soil out and just, you know, throw it into the garden. So that way it's faster, it's easier for me to diversify the soil. And also by having the bag on top of this piece of rock here that divides the garden from the lawn, it's also helpful because it keeps the grass from going into my garden. And another thing is very helpful too as well, is as you have the soil on top of your soil here, it actually does wonder for the soil, for the old soil, because it actually not only that it keeps out the grass from your garden, but it actually moisten and loosen the soil underneath the bag. So it actually does a lot of work naturally, and it does look like it's crazy things to do, but it actually keep the bottom of the bag warm, and so it draws a lot of like worms and stuff like that to live underneath, so you can have a happier lawn. And it also, let's say if I want to move the rock out and expand my garden into the grass area, and while the bag is sitting here, this soil underneath the bag, it actually it moistens the bottom of the bag, and it makes the soil softer and easier for you to dig if you want to expand your garden. So by this strategy, I have expanded my garden to the max, and I seem to like it a lot, because I don't have to go around this area here with a weed eater or a weed whacker to whack the weeds, right? Because normally if you just mow the lawn, like you just mow the lawn in any way, shape or form that you want, but you would have to go again and weed your garden with the weed whacker, and then sometime when you weed whack your plants, and therefore you might hurt your plants. So for me, whatever is easy, save me times, and whatever. This bag can sit here for 6 months. This is the compostable, the compost bag that I purchased. So this can sit here for 3 months, for whenever I have time to actually go in and diversify the soil into my garden, and give it more nutrients than what it already have. So this can sit here 3 months, can sit here 6 months, can sit here for 7 months, can sit here whatever. But while it's sitting here, it does its purpose, and it does a wonder job. It helps you from not having to weed whack and waste, gasoline and time to weed whack and trim the border of your garden, and potentially may cut down your sticking out leaf of your iris rhizome, right? So that's how I do it. If you don't like this strategy, you don't have to do it. And yes, it does look very messy in the garden, but it does work, and it has its own purpose. And every little thing that I do is to save my back and my labor, and I don't have to carry it from one spot to another and then carry it back into garden and stuff like that. And it also helps with keeping out the weeds, and it keeps the water in the garden where I water it, and I absolutely love it. That is my little cheat strategy. And what you're looking at is iris called Bravery here, and this little guy did not bloom for me. So as you can see, it doesn't have any mother rhizome. It's just growing like mad, and it has no flowers. So he is sitting in the ground for another year. If he doesn't bloom, I'll probably dig him out. But yeah, so that's how I keep the weeds out of my garden, semi out of my garden. Yes, I do have other weeds that go into the garden, but as you can see, these are flowers. This is mint. This is another flower that I grew from seeds. As you can see here, I don't have very many weeds where I particularly grow in the flower bed, so I'm super duper excited about that. Yes, I do have, like here, weeds that's trying to go in from between it grows from between the rocks and trying to sneak in, but by having the bag here, it saved me time. Works like wonder. I like it. You don't have to do the things that I do, but I don't have a lot of time since I do work a full-time job. I have a family to take care of, and like everybody else, I have chores to do, not just gardening. So with that being said, I hope this helped. I hope this method save you time, and also save you having a backache from carrying the bags everywhere. But as you can already see that the soil that I purchased and bought, I generally use it within 3 months, or within 6 months, or within 2 months. So they don't actually sit in the garden for a very long time. The max they ever sit in the garden is about 6 months time, and then they get used. So but then that would actually allows me to have enough time. When I pull the bag out, there's the roots of the grass. It makes it easier for me to actually go in and dig them out too as well, because I will then know and see where it is. And another thing is that I kneel on them. So if I see a piece of grass somewhere in my garden, or if I need to, like for this flower here, if I need to prune it, so this flower here, if it's overgrown, or if I need to collect the seed here, right, I kneel on it. And I don't need to use a knee pad, because I can just go in here on my knee, collect these seeds, prune back the mint tree that I need to prune here, prune here, prune here, prune back the aloe vera plant here, and hopefully go in and kind of like detail and manage my garden a little bit better than what I have here. So as things go, you see the purpose of the bag being here is that it allows me to kneel on it without having to worry about wearing a knee pad, and it allows me to have more control of the weeds because I'm the only one that is actually gardening in this family. So I hope this helped. Take care and stay safe.